A barrel of Brent light sweet crude oil today, August 2nd, 2026, costs about $83 per barrel despite all the craziness happening in the Middle East and at your gas pump. Pretty low, all things considered. And now contrast that with an ounce of silver, which costs about $58 per ounce today. Think about that for a moment. The world will take a barrel of oil, pump it from the ground, transport it across oceans, refine it, burn it, and turn it into yesterday's energy. Gone, consumed, finished. But that ounce of silver, it may end up inside a solar panel, generating electricity for decades. It may sit inside a semiconductor, controlling a machine. It may become part of a satellite, a missile guidance system, a medical device, or the electrical infrastructure powering the artificial intelligence revolution. One commodity is consumed immediately. The other becomes part of civilization's machinery. Yet the market continues to analyze silver as if it's simply a cheaper cousin of gold. And that may be the mistake, because perhaps silver has been sitting in the wrong category for the last 50 years. Perhaps investors have been asking the wrong question. They ask, how much is it worth compared to gold? Maybe the better question is, how much is silver worth compared to the industrial commodities civilization cannot live without? Because silver may or may not be the next gold, and this is a fun debate we've explored before, but silver may very well be the next oil. As of August 2nd, 2026 today, the market is telling an interesting story. Silver trades for around $58 per ounce. Gold trades for about $4,058 per ounce, and Brent light sweet crude trades for about $83 per barrel. The traditional precious metals investor immediately looks at the gold to silver ratio, myself included. Gold divided by silver. Approximately 70 ounces of silver equals the price of 1 ounce of gold today. For generations, investors have used this ratio as the measure of relative value. Is silver cheap? Is gold expensive? Should the ratio revert towards historical averages? But there is an assumption buried inside that calculation. The assumption is that gold and silver are fundamentally the same type of asset. They are not. Gold is primarily a monetary asset. There can be no doubt about that. But silver is increasingly an industrial asset, and industrial assets are valued differently. Nobody values oil based on how pretty it looks. Nobody stores crude because they like the way it shines. Oil has value because the global economy requires consumption. Transportation, manufacturing, agriculture, defense, petrochemicals. The world does not admire oil. The world uses oil, and that is why oil markets are measured through concepts like reserves, production, consumption, spare capacity, inventory levels, and replacement cost. Oil is a strategic input. But silver is kind of moving in that direction. For thousands of years, silver had a monetary role, and still does. Ancient civilizations used silver coins. The United States had silver-backed currency. Silver was money. But something happened during the last century. The world became electrified, and silver discovered a second identity, not as money, as infrastructure. Silver has the highest electrical conductivity of any metal. The single characteristic makes it extraordinary and difficult to replace. In a world becoming more dependent on artificial intelligence, renewable energy, electric transportation, advanced electronics, automation, and defense technology, the value proposition of silver has changed. The metal once used to make coins is increasingly being used to build the machines of the future. This is where the comparison with oil becomes interesting. Oil is valuable because civilization needs energy. Silver may become valuable because civilization needs connectivity, which leads to energy. The modern economy is not just powered by electrons, it is controlled by them. And moving electrons efficiently requires highly conductive materials. Every AI data center, every advanced semiconductor, every electrical grid upgrade, every high-performance electronic device, all of them depend on materials. Investors see the artificial intelligence revolution and immediately think NVIDIA, Microsoft, Google, cloud providers. But every technological revolution has a physical foundation. The internet required fiber optic cables. The smartphone revolution required rare earth metals. The Industrial Revolution required coal and steel. The AI revolution requires power infrastructure. The power infrastructure requires silver. And now here is where the investment analysis gets interesting. The world does not produce silver the way investors think. Silver mining is unusual. A large percentage of silver production comes as a byproduct of mining other metals: copper, lead, zinc, gold. This matters enormously. If oil prices rise, oil companies drill more wells. The incentive is direct. The commodity price rises. Production responds. Silver is different. A silver price spike does not necessarily create a flood of new supply. A mining company cannot simply decide silver is $100 an ounce. Let's open a silver mine next month. Mining does not work that way. A major mine can take years or even more than a decade from discovery to production. Capital investment, permitting, environmental review, infrastructure, engineering, geology, the supply response is slow, very slow. This creates the same dynamic that makes oil markets volatile. A shortage does not necessarily mean the world runs out. It means the available supply becomes strategically valuable. The last barrel of oil is not worth $100 because oil is disappearing tomorrow. It's worth $100 because that marginal barrel is needed. The same concept may eventually apply to silver. The question will not be how much silver exists. The question will be how much immediately available silver exists when everyone needs it at the same time. And there is another difference between gold and silver. Gold accumulates, silver disappears. Almost every ounce of gold ever mined is still somewhere. It sits in central bank vaults, investor portfolios, jewelry, institutional reserves. Gold is an asset that survives history. Silver is different. Silver gets dispersed throughout civilization, tiny amounts inside millions of products. A smartphone, a circuit board, a solar panel, a medical device, a military application. Recovering that silver often makes no economic sense. The metal is technically there, but economically, it's gone. This is where silver begins to resemble another commodity, not gold. Oil. Oil is consumed. Silver is consumed. Oil requires continuous production because civilization uses it faster than it can replace itself, and silver may increasingly face the same problem. A growing industrial economy requires more silver every year. But supply cannot instantly respond. Now, does this mean silver can only go higher? Well, not if certain banks have their say. Commodity markets are brutal. They punish certainty. A recession could reduce industrial demand. Higher interest rates can pressure precious metals. A stronger dollar can weigh on commodity prices. Technology can discover alternatives. Investors can lose interest. Nothing is guaranteed. But the valuation question remains: are investors analyzing silver using the correct framework? Because perhaps the biggest misunderstanding about silver is not its scarcity. It is its identity. For decades, investors have asked, is silver a precious metal? And that may be the wrong question. The better question may be, is silver becoming a strategic industrial commodity? Because the world does not need silver because it is beautiful. The world needs silver because it works. And the irony is the market has always been better at valuing things it understands, and gold is easy. Everybody understands gold. A vault, a bar, a reserve, asset, a hedge. Silver is harder. Silver hides. It disappears into products. It works quietly in the background. It does not announce itself. It does not get invited to television interviews. It does not have a central bank chairman explaining its importance. It just quietly becomes part of the machines that run modern civilization. And maybe that is the opportunity. Markets often misprice what is boring. They chase what is obvious. They debate the newest technology company, the newest cryptocurrency, the newest investment trend. Meanwhile, the materials underneath those trends quietly determine what is actually possible. The world spent decades asking whether silver could become the next gold, but maybe that was the wrong comparison all along. Gold is what civilizations save, oil is what civilizations consume, and silver may be something different. Silver may be what civilizations build with. And someday, investors may look back and laugh at the simplicity of it. Because the answer was sitting right there the entire time. Everybody was looking at silver, asking, is it valuable because it is precious? The better question was, how valuable is something when the entire world suddenly realizes it cannot function without it? Sometimes the biggest opportunities are not hidden. Sometimes they are sitting in plain sight. They are just hiding behind the wrong name. And now you know the rest of the story for why silver may very well be the next oil. Build that stack. iBankerU. Good day.